Combina, yo te no me digan, no me lentito con lo que hay. Oh, sorry. We're live right now. We're live, counselor. We're live, counselor. I didn't curse. Good evening and welcome to the Budget and Finance. Oh, counselors, can I have a motion to resume from recess?
So move.
Motion's made by Council President, seconded by the Vice Chair, Council Marmo. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Today is Monday, June 3rd. It's officially 7:13 p.m. Councilors that I have in the chamber with me today, to my left, Councilor Wendy Luzon, to my right, Councilor and Vice Chair of the Budget and Finance Committee, Vivian Marmo, and the Council President, Giovanni Rodriguez. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting of the Budget and Finance Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend in person here at the City Council chamber or can access the meetings through our Facebook and YouTube channels, pages. At this point, can you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, counselors, and people in the audience. It is the chair's and the committee members' decision to postpone the budget hearing for Greater Lawrence Tech and Lawrence Public Schools to Wednesday, the 12th at 7 p.m. due to the fact that we received both budgets really, really late. The Lawrence Public Schools, we received on Friday. Counselors, this is not our full-time job, so we're not here in the office every day. In Greater Lawrence Tech, we received it today. So we have not viewed any of these packets. So can I, just to make it formal, can I have a motion to review, just for formality, I mean, I don't, but to review the budgets for Greater Lawrence Tech and Lawrence Public Schools on Wednesday, June 12th at 7 p.m.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Council Marble. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Council Luzon. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. All right, moving on to, we have the Airport Enterprise Fund.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening.
Madam Chair.
Director, what page are we starting off on?
Is it
Sorry.
169? Is it what page? What page?
165.
Oh, 165.
Yes. Good evening, councilors. I come before you requesting the FY25 Mayor's recommended budget of $712,190, which is an increase of $81,000. That is reflected on two major projects that we are implementing. One is a heating system for the maintenance building, is about $40,000. I do not know, I have a guarantee. While I will apply for grants, I do not have a guarantee that those grants are yet to be available in FY25, so that's why you see that increase there. Additionally, we also have some higher energy costs, which we reflected on National Grid and higher bills for gas, natural gas, and heating price, as well as fuel. And Mark, if you see on page 2, that is where that $60,000 maintenance repair and replacement of the heating system, as well as some advertisement, as we are projecting that we will break ground for a new, I don't call it terminal building, it's called an administrative office building for the airport, replacing their current building. And so that too is something that we expect will be coming for FY25, Madam Chair.
165 and 166 is the details.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
As a reminder, we are an enterprise fund. All of our expenditures that we are requesting this year, we do project that we will meet with income coming into the airport from our various sources.
All right, councilors, any questions or comments for the airport budget, regarding the airport budget? Councilor Marmo.
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating again the repairs and maintenance?
Yes, happy to do so. So we project, we expect, we would like to replace the heating system in the maintenance building. The maintenance building is what holds our plows, holds our vehicles. We want to obviously keep them climate coordinate, as well as we do have some heavy piping of sprinkler systems that require a certain temperature, otherwise it will freeze in the winter with the wind gusts that we have at the airfield. So that's a $60,000 maintenance project that we expect to come in. So that is a chunk of that $81,000 increase that you see. I do expect to apply for some grants, and if those come in, we would offset them, obviously, with what we are requesting. Additionally, we do have we budgeted several $1,000s for higher gas, of natural gas, the way we currently heat our current administrative office building. It was pretty porous. It's a 1955 build, so as much maintenance as we tried to do to recoup some of that energy, sadly, the building just does not sustain. And we also added for the cost of fuel. As we all know, those costs have increased, and they also impact the mowing and the plowing that happens at the airport in both mowing and plowing season.
And if you could briefly go over what other assessments would consist of, and then lastly, what would be the site improvements?
Off of page 165, so we have on personal services, by the mayor's recommendation, $305,085. We have purchase services of $172,727. Supplies, $11,200. Intergovernmental, $70,446. Other charges and expenditures of $25,231. Capital outlays of $127,500 gives us a grand total of $712,190. Those are broken down into page 166, and you can see those in the various categories. And Council, I could go through them if you like, or let me know when.
Yeah, like, so under other assessments, what would that consist of? And then in terms of the site improvements, if you could just briefly.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do so. So the other charges and expenditures, as you're relating to that 25,000, we have some in-state travel that has been allowed there, dues and memberships of various sources. The personal casualty insurance as an enterprise, something you may not see with other departments. We do have to front load that money for insurances and other expenditures of that type, Medicare, healthcare, and dental, and that essentially comes up to that $25,000. You may not see that in other departments, and again, a department with 4 employees as we have at the airport, we try to keep that as consistent as we can, and is one of those things that's mandated to us by the Budget and Finance, so there's no negotiating on our side. It's just what we're told. We have to budget for that. So. On capital outlays and site improvements, that historically has been monies that have been placed there in preparation for other projects. What we foresee in the upcoming year is a drainage project that is on the west side of the airport. It's a site improvement to ensure that the rain and storm water properly drains towards the Merrimack. And the current configuration that we currently has is picture a stream bed that has had sediment for various decades. That riverbed, when it becomes a flowing river, jumps and goes down into various other residential neighborhoods. And instead of going down the previously engineered project, now you're talking about an airport that was designed in 1934. A lot of other neighbors have moved there since, and so what we have is water from the neighborhood that is sometimes flowing into the airport. And so we are also talking to North Andover. As you know, most of our projects do require permitting from North Andover in order for them to do their due diligence to facilitate that water, and they manage their own water in the neighborhoods instead of allowing that to come into the airport.
Council President.
Through you, Madam Chair. Just to build up around that, about what Councilor Marmore is saying, and the project related to the drainage. I remember that last year, the
Yes.
same issue was brought up.
Right.
And some allocation was around that. I mean, what happened back then?
We
What
haven't,
happened?
so to your point, it was in the design phase last year. We were ready to launch essentially the contractor phase to be able to start. We wanted to start now before the rainy season comes around. But where we had about a 15-foot buffer before we had to go to Army Corps. North Andover requested the full length of that permit design. So it currently stands with Army Corps of Engineers. So we're now past the FAA's opportunity to apply for a grant. There's no way we could start between now and the time period that we wanted this summer. So it's something that we're looking to start next spring, Councilor. But we are ready, at least from the local permits appear to be ready. The last one is North Andover Conservation Commission, which is cited for next week. Once they give us their signage, then we wait for the Army Corps of Engineers because it is beyond the scope. And it's all due to conservation land. If this was an open field where we could go in there and just use a backhoe, I wish it was that simple. But because it deals with conservation, it deals with Wetland Protection Acts and all the other rights, therefore it just requires that much more government red tape to be able to do this properly and to make sure that it meets those regulations as cited.
Because essentially the water is coming from the neighborhoods into the property, the city, the airport property, right?
To some extent, I mean, we still have 15 acres of water that we're draining. We're also rediverting a catch basin, if you will, or a head wall, so that that pressure doesn't directly come at a 90-degree angle. It kind of flows into a pre-existing stream. I would love to show you or any other counselors what we have. There's also a stream that has been restored some years back with some natural plantings and other ways of properly managing. And we're also, in this new design, there's going to be a higher wall with some 3-to-1 ratios of descent to ensure that soil does not fail in the higher storms that we have been getting, especially over the last summer. We saw one storm of 7 inches in 7 hours, which was historical. It just didn't hit the airport, although it was counted at the airport because we do have the weather service for North Andover there.
All right, so hopefully we can get into a resolution soon on that, because I mean, I've been hearing the same issue for quite a amount of years now.
From our end, we're ready, Counselor. Really, now is the aspect of requesting the permits to be able to truly be ready on the paperwork side. But we were ready on the aspect of equipment, and we even had a contractors meeting. And then we were told we required the extra permitting, so then we had to kind of set that process aside, and we'll restart the bids once those are ready, because those contractors did not want to hold those bids until next year.
Essentially, the Corps of Engineering get involved because the town of North Andover requests the full length of design that otherwise it wouldn't be a requirement.
Correct.
What are they supporting the airport with in terms of what are they doing, the town of North Andover? What are they doing to ensure that, because essentially we are diverting some type of water that come from the neighborhoods.
Sure.
So how they are involved in the
One of the
project?
things that I understand that they're doing is they are going to put some more drainage on that part of those 4 streets. If you look at them on a map facing towards the west, they look like 4 fingers, but they're Wood Ave, Poor Ave, and others. And so there's also a couple catch basins that have been paved over, and I think that they're going to look at their engineering to see if they could replace those into their system of water management. The other challenges that have happened beyond the subdivision that came in there some years back is a lot of those neighbors have been installing gutters, and so the precipitation, once it falls, and the velocity of that water flowing is what truly is causing a lot of that erosion into those parts of the neighborhood. But again, I'm happy to give you a full tour, the walking tour, and you could kind of see it for yourself. But as far as there's still more options. I think North Andover still has the opportunity to ask for some easements and then be able to put the proper piping so that it flows towards north, instead of flowing west towards the hill of North Andover. It could probably flow directly towards the Merrimack and right under the railroad tracks on this side of the airport. So that's an opportunity, but again, it's one that costs money on their part, and I don't know what their appetite is. The Conservation Commission, for what it's worth, is well aware of these and is essentially pushing for North Andover as a town to do more.
All right, great. How much money did the city invest last year on this issue?
The city of Lawrence?
Out of the fund account?
I'll have to take a look. What we were in, if you're talking about this calendar year, is the design, and that was still. We're still looking at those figures. I don't have it here. I could happy to bring it back.
Yeah,
to you.
maybe we should get a count and when it comes to that specific issue, because that issue it's coming from something else that is not. Some aspect, one way or another, somebody else's fault.
Right. I think
But
that
it's good to kind of like get to know the numbers
Right.
over the years.
I think that this project that we have proposed, and if we would have started this summer, this last, we could have managed it properly, or at least get a good control of it. But with the design, the team that has been essentially informing us, I'm confident that we could address and continue to manage our water on the airport. I can't guarantee that any other water coming in from the neighborhood of the town, that's a different story, and I mean, that's also something that needs to be, discussed. But we're managing, and we're putting some right protocols in place. We did put some erosion controls, some core logs, several, and those, I could tell you, those are about $12,000 worth of core logs that we spent in and around the airport to make sure that water from the outside of the airport does not come in. And those erosion controls, as temporary as they are, they still meet the requirements of wetlands and the such because they're natural materials.
No problem. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, councilors.
Councilors, the next budget we have is the city attorney's budget. Attorney Hooton.
Good evening, councilors. Let me start first with an apology and a thank you. Apology is because of a personal matter. I could not be here in person, but I was in front of my computer the whole night.
I was watching your audio trying to connect them.
And then when that didn't work, I realized that nothing was happening. I did my phone, which was funny because I thought everything was great because I heard you do the city clerk. I watched you do the city clerk, and then you asked me to speak, and you heard nothing. So
Yeah.
I was there. I do apologize for that. As you can see, my budget's on 50 and 51. My budget doesn't change year for year, but what you do see this year is we're finally filling the positions. So we have the addition of the first assistant city attorney, and I'm happy to say, starting tomorrow, we will have the second assistant city attorney starting. We are also having a confidential secretary who will eventually replace my confidential secretary after she teaches her everything she knows, which will take some while, but she will be starting in approximately 7 days too. We're just waiting some matters from the personnel department. But as far as all the other amounts, there are a certain amount of shifting that happens in my department depending on whether the funds are needed for any judgments, et cetera, but they pretty much stay the same from year to year.
Attorney, can you explain the $175,000 increase under court judgments? Because it was $25,000 last year, and now it's being increased to $200,000.
So just so you know I don't mean to say it this way, that's kind of a fake number. It's the way it shifts. The CAFO can tell you that we put that money, because we don't know we're going to need it, we put it into other funds, and so then when we need it, we shift it back into that fund. So there was not that much in court judgments that year, but this year, we're trying to even it out so that we're ready. We don't have to do that shift. As you may see, and you've probably seen recently, what happens is a lot of times I'll come before you and say, okay, I need you to take this money from over here and put it over here so I can use it. So it is not, there is no increase in the amount of payouts that we had. It's in the same, it's just the shifting of money from one department to another.
Okay. And then the confidential secretary, I know that you're transitioning secretaries, and there's a training period. But reflected on the budget, there's two. Is it for the current and the new, or are you planning once your current secretary retires, are you planning to fulfill a separate?
I would love to, but I'm crossing that bridge when it comes to it. Right now,
Got it.
that's for the current secretary and the one that's
Got it.
starting in a week.
Okay. Councilors, any other questions or comments for the city attorney? Hearing none, I think you're all set, Attorney
Thank you,
Hooton.
Britt. I know a lot of people weren't happy tonight, but I was pretty happy with your number.
Well, we weren't happy, but
I know you were.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
also.
Councilors, any other, and for those watching at home, I know the budget hearing schedule does have an alternate date of June 5th and 6th. The vice chair will be away those two dates, and the dates were scheduled prior to my knowledge of that, which is why the postponed budget hearings for the school departments will be held on the 12th, so that the vice chair can participate in those discussions. Councilors, any comments or anything pertaining to the budget before we enter recess again? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to recess.
Motion is made by the council president, seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you so much.